Live It Like Lisa here, back with another coastal decor makeover video for you guys. This is part 2 in a small series of videos I'll be doing on my channel, just giving some of these coastal decor items a bit of a makeover for a cafe. And in today's video, we're going to make over this lighthouse, this small ship's wheel, and the anchor. So let's just jump straight in. Okay, so if you've seen in my previous video on the coastal decor makeovers, my first video in this series, we're going for like a very neutral, rustic sort of look, almost like a rustic farmhouse look to the coastal decor. So all of the pieces that I'm doing are going to be very neutral toned, and that's why we're covering everything with some white chalk paint. So all 3 pieces are going to get fully covered in a few coats of white chalk paint. Now, I'm pretty sure I say it in all my videos whenever I'm doing a project with white chalk paint, but I like to make my own because because of the volume of chalk paint that I use. It works out a lot cheaper for me to just buy a big bulk tin of white wall paint or ceiling paint. Ceiling paint's usually a bit cheaper than wall paint, so I tend to get a big 6-litre tin of ceiling paint, and then I just make small batches up of the chalk paint as I go, like for whatever project I'm doing. So generally speaking, my chalk paint recipe, like I say in a lot of my videos, is 1/3 of a cup of plaster of Paris mixed with 1/3 of a cup of water. Mix that together until you've got a smooth paste, and then add to that mix 1 cup of your wall paint or ceiling paint, the color of your choice. Yeah, and that is sort of like 1 cup of that mix is more than enough to do a piece of furniture and all of that sort of thing. And if you keep a tight lid on it, it usually lasts quite a few months as well. So yeah, I ended up giving these probably about 3 coats each. Okay, so once they're all painted, I am now just tying some jute twine around the fence line of this lighthouse. It did have like a white sort of twine on there before, but I just thought this jute twine gives it a bit more of a nice neutral rustic look. I'm also going to add a little bit of jute twine wrapped around the base, as well as spiraling up the lighthouse. Because this is like a key holder type thing, I just thought the jute twine would help keep it closed, because we're not going to be using it as a key holder. It's just going to be solely for decor, and I'll just tie that off at the back. Okay, so now for some fun decorating. So I've got this, this was actually like that Halloween spooky gauze stuff that comes out at Halloween time. I picked up a few of these last year because I thought they'd be good in some of my other craft projects. So I'm just using some regular PVA glue and sticking some of this along the lighthouse. I just feel it gives that like kind of like a fishing net sort of vibe to it. Definitely coastal anyway, in my opinion. So we're just going to spiral a few pieces of that up throughout the lighthouse to give it a little bit of texture. And then we're going to start decorating. Now I'm going to be decorating with a manner of all different coloured type shells and ornaments and things like that, but we are going to paint all of these white at the end. So don't despair when you see odd colours start to go on the lighthouse. It will look very neutral at the end. Alright, so I'm going to decorate the lighthouse with some shells, and to stick these on I'm using like E6000 glue, which is like a really strong super glue. I don't want to use hot glue in this sort of project because the shells can become quite heavy, and I just feel like the hot glue is not going to last long. So even though this is a little bit of a pain to work with because you have to wait for the glue to dry before they're fully bonded, I just feel like this is just the best option for this project because I want them to be stuck on and stuck on well. So yeah, the only downside is to try and putting it in a position where the shells have time to adhere to the thing without actually moving. So yeah, this is why I'm trying to prop it up and put it in a position to allow the shells time to dry. So I'm just going to be decorating the bottom corner of this in like a like almost like a fan sort of shape going up the side and then across. And yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to it. I'm just sort of placing shells where I think they go, and then filling in the gaps with some smaller shells as well. And yeah, I've just got a few other little decor pieces like this little starfish and that sort of thing going on as well. And like I said, that's not going to stay green, that starfish. It will all get painted over. And these little things I'm sticking on now, they're like I think they're like a floral type decor thing. I don't know, but I just think they go really, really well in this coastal decor. They give it that sort of sea anemone type feel. So I've just stuck a few of those on with some PVA glue. And now I'm just dabbing a heap of PVA glue in some of the gaps. Again, just to give it a bit more adhesion. If there's some shells, you know, that are just not quite stuck on, or, you know, these little sea anemone things, I don't know what to call them. I'm just dabbing some PVA glue in the gaps just to make sure that they're on securely and give it a bit more stability as well. I've also put a little shell decor thing up on the top there as well. I don't know if I showed that when I originally stuck it on, but just again, just a little bit of decoration up the top. What I've got here are like crushed seashells, and these were from like a craft, I think they were, I bought them online like on eBay or AliExpress, one of those. And they came with like a whole set of glitter and different things. I'm pretty sure they were like from a nail kit. They might have been like a nail art kit or something like that. But I just think they're going to be perfect on this project. So I'm just sprinkling those crushed seashells in all the gaps, and especially where I've put all that PVA glue, so that, you know, hopefully some of them will stick to that and create a bit more texture and interest on the project as well. And now I've got some like really tiny little pearl things that I'm sprinkling on as well, just again in all of those gaps. And this again, I think they were originally like nail art things, but they're just really tiny little balls that again, I think just gives it that nice bit of texture and sea look to it. Okay, so next I'm just adding some pearls to this project, and these again were just from AliExpress or eBay, one of those, and they're just like a half pearl with it, like they're a pearl with a flat back and a round front, and I'm just sticking a few of those all along as well. Various sizes of these, some really, really tiny and some big ones, and I'm just, yeah, just putting them all on randomly, filling in any gaps or where I think that they need. Again, just do what you think looks good. No rules. Okay, so once all the glue is completely dry, now I'm just going over a few of the shells and decor pieces with some white chalk paint. Not trying to cover the whole thing, but just giving them a little bit of a light brush so that some of the seashell look still comes through, but the stuff that I don't want, like that big green starfish, obviously didn't match, so I covered that completely. But all the others, I'm just giving like a light, sort of a dry brush, I guess, with the white, just to tone the colors down a little bit, but so that you can still see the tones showing through. Okay, and lastly, to finish it off, I'm just using some watercolor here just to give a little bit of depth to it. So I'm just going over some of the areas in a little bit of a darker brown color, and then the top two tiers of the lighthouse I'm going over in like a grey blue, just to give it a little bit more depth to the decoration, I guess, and give it a little bit of shadow and that sort of thing. You don't need to do this step, you can keep it as is, but yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit of color to it. And with the watercolors too, they go on fairly dark, but once they dry fairly muted, so you know, don't have a heart attack that it's gonna be so dark, because they do dry fairly muted. So yeah, just sort of doing the top layers in a little bit of a bluish sort of tinge, and then giving the bottom shells a little bit of depth with the browns. And here's the end result. Really, really happy with that. I'm I'm actually starting to like coastal decor, I think. So I'm just showing you here a little close-up of the textures and the colours and all the different elements that we've added on. And yeah, really, really happy with the way this turned out. And you can see there the watercolours have just muted down to like a nice sort of bluey grey. Just so it's not so stark white. You want a little bit of depth to it and just a little bit of decoration on that side as well. Well, that's project number 1 done, and 2 more left on this video. But yeah, I hope it looks good in the cafe. It's a beachy side cafe / takeaway shop, so I definitely think this sort of decor, I mean, this decor was originally from the shop, but we've just given the shop a bit of a makeover, so I think this decor will look good. And here's a little side by side before and after. Which one do you guys prefer? I know which one I like the best. So there you go. All right, on to our next project. Now this one's going to be super, super quick. So we've already given this a few coats of white chalk paint. All I'm basically going to do with this is wrap some jute twine around 4 sides of the steering wheel. Pretty similar to the previous one I've done, but then we're just going to distress this one a little bit as well. So once I've wrapped all the jute twine around the 4 sides, then we're just going to get a bit of sandpaper, distress it a little bit, and call it done. So here's the 2 little steering wheels side by side. Not a huge change for this one, but definitely a freshen up, that's for sure. I really like this one. It was so easy, just white chalk paint and a bit of distressing, and that's done. So that's another one down. Now onto our ship's anchor. Anchors again, going to be a really easy one. So we've already done our white chalk paint to freshen up the paintwork. I'm just wrapping some jute twine around the top to give it that rustic feel. It already did have some sort of twine around the top, but yeah, it was just pretty crummy looking, so we'll just freshen it up with some new jute twine. And now I'm going in with this gauzy stuff again, which is, I just love it. It's just perfect for coastal decor projects. It just gives it that real coastal look, I guess. We're just going to put some of this on with some PVA glue, and just running it down the top of the anchor there, and probably a little bit over the bottom. I'm pretty sure I did as well. Now I probably should have done this before I added the gauzy stuff, but I completely forgot, to be honest. But I am now going to go in and give it a bit of a distressing. So in all the areas where I'm not going to rip the gauze off, I'm going to give it a bit of distressed look, just with a bit of sandpaper, rubbing off some of that paintwork. But yeah, if I had thought about it before, which, I mean, I don't know why I didn't, too eager to get it finished, I guess, I would have done all this prior to adding the gauze. So to finish off the anchor, I'm just using this knife to scratch off the outer lining of the letters, because at the bottom it actually says welcome. So we're going to have this somewhere near the entrance, or somewhere where people see it as they come in to the cafe. And yeah, I think I use a combination of a bit of sandpaper as well as this knife, just to etch off the outline of these letters so that they stand out. And that's pretty much it for the anchor. That's done. So here's the anchor all hanging up and finished. Again, super happy with the way this one's turned out. Definitely a big freshen up from the way it used to look. Here's a little side-by-side comparison. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. If you did, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Subscribing is free. It'll just notify you the next time I upload a video. and I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching.